Fucking hyped! Yeah! Oh fuck, my script is invisible.
Talk code to me.
Oh, we have to introduce everything again because we got this amazing new backdrop.
Yeah, we do.
And a microphone that's facing us.
Yes. Fourth time's the charm.
Fourth time's the charm. Okay, so this is a new series. A big series. A great series.
It's gonna be fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's gonna follow the creation of a new video game.
Whoa.
Ooh.
What's it called?
Progress.
Whoa!
Oh my god.
Like the work in progress?
Channel. Progress is going to be the biggest and most unfinished game this corner of the internet. It's going to have spaceflight, planet management, character customization, branching storylines, with a big focus on characters and story and
relationships between the characters
and like your place in the world, your ship, your crew, and the dynamics they're in. However, at the moment, this is it. This is a world, this is you, and this is your ship. Or at least it will be. Character customization does come later.
Yes.
Hot as a kettle of fish, not getting into it now. So yeah, every week there'll be a new episode, hopefully. If schedules. We're not good at it. But we'll give it a go.
It's fine.
Yeah, fourth time the charm and all that.
It's fine. It's fine.
Showing, like, each week we'll be showing the changes, additions, and showing you the broad strokes of how it's been done. Just so you guys can understand where this is coming from. You guys see a bit of what I get. Yeah.
Why am I here?
You are here because you're my lovely fiance and we are a great team. Plus, you know fuck all about game development. So...
Yeah, so I'm here to provide some comedic relief, to...
have a good time, to, like...
Yeah.
So we can talk to each other about it.
We can bounce some ideas, and so that Nathan doesn't go off on a tangent about code that no one else understands except him.
Yeah.
I can rein him in a little bit. It'll be a good time.
Yeah. Okay, to get into things, this is our movement script.
Whoop!
It basically converts the player's input into directional movement for their character. So when you hit WASLD, it'll add a certain value to a vector 2, which is then rounded down so that each value it can represent fits within a circle. To break that down a bit, basically when you hit W on the keyboard, it'll create a vector 2 that says 1, 0, or when you hit D on the keyboard, it'll create a vector 2 that says 0, 1. Where the problem comes into this is when you hit W and D on the keyboard, it'll create a vector 2 that says 1, 1. Basically meaning that you move 1 meter forward and 1 meter right at the same time. So we round that down into a circle so that instead of going 1 meter forward and 1 meter right, you would be going 1 meter in a certain direction. Which basically means you'll be moving like 0.74 meters forward and 0.74 meters right. It's just how the numbers go out, so that no matter what buttons you press, it'll all fit within this circle. Like, hitting each button individually, that's fine, because just hitting W, it still just equals 1, 0. But two at the same time, it's going to be 0.74, 0.74, or thereabouts.
Well, that makes sense, because if you're just hitting W, if you're just giving it one input, then it only has to deal with that one input you're giving it. Whereas if you're hitting W and D, you're giving it two directions. So to prevent the code from having a bit of a nightmare, it averages that out so that you can go diagonally rather than forward and right.
Sort of. Like, the code can handle two numbers, it just won't feel as natural for the player.
Oh, so this is...
Yeah,
this is for the benefit of the player to make sure that it feels smooth and realistic movement rather than grapevining.
Yeah, so like, for example, in the original Doom, like, you would be able to hit W and D at the same time, and you would move like 1 meter forward and 1 meter right in that direct diagonal line, and you'll be like, it's how a lot of speedrunners move around because it makes you move a lot faster. Yeah, we don't want that here. We want more natural movement.
Because it's a story-based game, it's not.
Yeah, it's our game. You and me, people. Community. YouTube. Us. It's our game. Okay, this vector 2 is then multiplied in each direction by a different number, so that we can more easily change the speed of the character.
Yeah.
And so that we can move faster forward than we can backwards. It's a mess trying to run backwards. This is then rotated so that the forward is now the player's forward rather than the forward of reality.
Yep.
So now instead of, like before, whenever you hit W, you'll always head north, for example, instead of forward for your character.
So if you're facing east and you want to continue going east, that is forward for you.
Yeah.
You'd hit forward, and then without this, it would mean that you would go north.
Yeah.
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 Pretty much.
It rotates the compass for you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
It makes it so it's relative to you.
Yeah.
It then finds the difference between this new target velocity that we have defined and the player's current velocity. This is so that otherwise, whenever you hold down the button, you'll keep, like, the longer you hold it, the faster you'll go in that direction.
Yep.
Or it'll be like, as soon as you let go of a button, you would slow to a halt rather than coming to it. It would feel more like, you know, flying in a plane or something like that.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it kind of seems as though like you're using a jetpack.
Yeah.
So the more velocity essentially that you gain going forward, the faster that you go. But that's now not how normal human walking speed works.
We don't accelerate like that.
No,
we
don't gain momentum the more that we walk.
Yeah.
So this accounts for that.
Yeah, this makes sure that, like, it feels natural. You can stop when you want to stop.
Yeah.
It's easier for you. Yeah. This is then finally passed, like, this vector 2 is then finally passed to the object's rigid body with add force, so that you can finally move the player. Like, woo! Or you can finally move the character, not the person behind the seat. But yeah. Yeah,
Moving
that's
it gives it body, as described in the rigid body. It means that you can bump into things that, like, it brings it to life. It's the icing on the cake.
That's no, none of that, to be honest.
Okay, alright. Correct me then.
Okay, so the object's rigid body. This handles the physics for this object.
Okay.
So whenever you poke it with something, whenever you want to move it, the rigid body makes sure that it moves realistically, it makes sure that it can topple, it makes sure that gravity enacts on it. It's where you can control the weight of the object.
Okay. So it means that if the player bumps into another object, it responds, the character responds in a way naturally.
Yeah, vaguely. So, like, the player's rigid body is sort of different to other objects' rigid body.
The player's rigid body or the character's?
Thank you. The character's rigid body is a little bit different because the character's rigid body is, like, its rotation is locked. It means that, like, the way that this rigid body has been set up is that you can move the character through this rigid body and you can have objects push against the character.
Yep.
But you can't have the character topple because as soon as your camera starts to tilt, players can get a little bit queasy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other objects in the world, they would use this same rigid body component, but without the rotation lock. What means you can push over crates and push around cans and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's what means that you can pilot ships.
Yep.
And things like that. Anything that you want to enact any force on, move, realistically, you need this. You need this rigid body. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that pretty much explains that. But this script also handles jumping and reducing the player's movement while in air. Less exciting stuff. I'm not going to talk about it. They're like 2-3 line things. The moose, done.
Not today.
Yeah. Okay, so this is the other part of the player's input. This is the camera movement. This controls the camera by grabbing how far the mouse has moved since the last update call. Now these update calls, they happen every frame within the game.
Pretty speedy.
Yeah, it's pretty speedy. Whenever you see something move, an update call has happened. But yeah, this movement is then multiplied by the camera sensitivity, and it clamps the up and down movement so that you can't flip the character's camera upside down.
Yeah.
You don't want to be able to snap your neck back like that.
No,
That's
not like that. Not like that. We're not owls. You can't like rotate your neck at like funky angles.
Yeah, it doesn't go like that.
No.
We don't want to make people sick.
No.
Yeah. And then it adds it to a list of the last 15 times it ran this check.
Okay.
This list is then averaged out and used to change the camera's rotation.
Yep.
So the average of the player's last 15 mouse inputs.
Yep.
The last, like...
The previous 15 times that the mouse has moved.
You know, the previous 15 frames.
Yep.
It grabs how much the mouse has moved, even if it hasn't moved at all. Yep. And averages it out.
Yep.
This means, like, this is then added to the camera's rotation rather than just straight adding it to it, because it makes it feel smoother.
Yep.
And also, as a small trick to it, you can increase the amount of frames that the list average out, and you can also add a small number, like a small random number to each frame, to give like a drunk effect to the character.
Yeah, like in Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
When you drink,
and
it gradually increases the sway of the camera, which is really cool.
Yeah. They also do a post-processing effect to give like wavy lines on the camera, but the two of those, when mixed together, good drunk effect.
Yeah.
Makes you feel just a little queasy. Like...
just that right amount of queasy.
Yeah.
We don't want to make people genuinely sick, but we just want to give the idea. A hint.
Want to feel in character.
A sprinkle.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, just really smooth.
Yep. And so by taking it with these last 15 inputs, sorry, itchy nose ring. With these last 15 inputs, it means that like if you move the camera, if you move the mouse drastically, it means that the camera doesn't like snap to follow it. It means that it like gradually moves.
So if you compare sort of like the camera movement in like the first Half-Life games, and then you compare it to something like the later Call of Duties, you'll see the difference. Like the first Half-Life, it's very short, it's very snappy. It's an alright thing, but it just doesn't feel as natural or as like engaging as being able to like to move it across.
Yeah, as immersive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the tools of the trade at the moment.
Cool.
This script also handles tying the camera to the player's head, so that you know when you move your character, the camera moves with it, and camera zoom. But yeah, not as exciting.
We're here for the exciting things.
Yeah. Broad strokes.
Yeah.
Like, these are the stuff that you'll be able to make your own game with. The rest of it is more fluff. You don't really need it, but it's what we want here.
Yeah.
So now that's all the player's interaction in the game at the moment. Let's talk about you and your ship. Your model and your animations are currently from mixamo.com.
Cool.
Which is Adobe's free animation website. You can download models and animations there, and it's just a very quick and easy place to prototype new games. We'll change it later, but that's where we are now.
It's a good starting launch pad. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah. That's why we're a naked mannequin man. And yeah, the ship is from Unity Marketplace, or the Unity Asset Store. Again, like, well, each individual component, it's a tileable set.
So you built this ship yourself?
Yeah, so like it's given me the individual pieces of a wall.
Yep.
And now I've just put them together like Lego to give that like shape and feel and layout. And so it looks prettier than just grey boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It adds life to a game.
It does.
Very early on, that we can change later. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this layout. So, the important features is that excluding ladders, all areas lead down to the cockpit, which is probably the place with your most important interaction with the ship. It's where you can pilot it around. I wanted to make sure that no matter what, you know where to go. This is also why it's a straight line from the cockpit to the exit of the ship.
Yep.
There's only one corner, and that's right at the end. And that's because it splits into two exits. You can either go out through an airlock into deep space, or you can go out through the other side into like a connecting port.
Yep.
So like, say if you're going onto the space station, or if you're boarding another ship, this is the exit you would take.
Yep. The difference between like crawling out a window and, you know, going through like the front door.
Don't tell me that, otherwise I'll always go out the window. But
don't go out the window.
Yeah.
The window is deep space, just, yeah.
But the gist of it is, it's near impossible to get lost in this layout at the moment.
Yeah, it means that...
It's very diegetic. It means
Yes.
you don't need signs and signage to tell you where to go.
Yeah.
You don't need any blinking lights, you don't need a compass point or anything within your own ship.
Yeah.
It's good.
It makes it feel a lot more homely, because you don't spend forever trying to orient yourself with where to get everywhere, because it flows quite naturally.
Yeah. This is also why the center of the ship is this like living quarters sort of area. It's where the table is, it's like you can see into the kitchen from here, you can see into every other part of the ship from here. It's just, this is where your crew will spend the bulk of the time. This is where character interactions will be mostly encouraged. And it's just nice to be able to like walk through an area and see like every member of your ship and like how they're doing.
Yep.
Just when you're going between entering and leaving the ship. It's I wanted to give you guys a yeah. And the only other area you would walk through when you're leaving the ship from the cockpit is the engine room, which represents the other character of your crew. It represents your ship, who, by all means and responsibilities, is a part of your crew. It's a character in their own right.
Yeah.
It changes, it evolves, your relationship grows.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to put a big emphasis on it.
Yes.
The remaining rooms include the kitchen, the bedrooms, and the office and the AI room. Each of these will have a bigger importance going on in the series. I'll explain why when we get to it, but we needed to include them now.
Just be like, hey, they exist.
Yeah, and so you can plan out the layout of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this overall shape of the interior is, yeah, it's good to navigate. And it's a little strange in shape, but as you can see from the outside, it's sort of pointed down like a hunting dog, because it's meant to be like a gatherer ship. It's meant to be like, it's not a combat ship.
No.
Not this one. It'll have like light arms and things, so it can introduce you to combat life.
Yeah.
However, it's not going to be
like basic defense rather than offense.
Yeah. Yeah, it's homely. It's not your attack frigate or anything like that.
No.
And yeah, I'll say that's it for this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for checking us out.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hopefully you'll be here for next episode, where we'll aim for the exterior of the ship to be done.
Ooh.
And maybe just some spaceflight, because everyone loves some spaceflight.
Who doesn't love flying in space?
Lastly, make sure to check out A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet. That book, as well as my dad, are the two main inspirations of the project, because it's a lovely book, and my dad's been kicking me in the ass to make a space game for like 6 years now.
It genuinely, every time we see your dad, he's like, so how's my game going?
Yeah.
And now you can tell him that it's actually happening.
It's going.
Whereas A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet is just...
Lovely book.
It is a fantastic book in its own right, and it makes up a big part of the... At the moment it's a trilogy. They're currently working... Becky Chambers, the author, she's currently working on the 4th book that's part of the same universe. And it's just, the books are really easy to read. They've got a whole bunch of symbolism, and the characters, you just fall in love with them. the categories, which is why she's coming over specifically for this segment.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's go give Becky Chambers some love, go read the books, love them, enjoy them, and hopefully it'll give you a little bit more context about the ship and universe that Nathan's making.
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
We need to get the cat on camera.
We do.
We need her to say bye too.
Okay. Right, she's just made herself comfy, so she's gonna be...
You know what? It's probably easier to move everything to say hi to the cat.
I think so.
Oh my god, something went wrong.
Kitty!
Bye, kid.
Gonna turn and look? That was perfect.
That's all you get.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Bye!